It's surprising to see the A group full of misogynistic, racist, homophobic, transphobic, creepy, fatphobic, and Zionist men can survive until now. Actually, it's not surprising because there are still many dumb people who stan them. Today's video is about Super Junior's toy Siwon. He's easily the most problematic member in Super Junior. Siwon has a reputation for being homophobic and transphobic. He's the most anti-LGBTQ+ idol in the K-pop industry. Siwon grew up in a very religious family. So, he claims to be a devout Christian. He's very open about his beliefs and he isn't scared to share what he thinks about the LGBTQ+ community. In 2007, when being asked about male actors portraying sexually ambiguous roles as in The King and The Clown 2005, Siwon said, "I will respectfully refuse any such offers. While I respect all genders, I do not wish to acknowledge homosexuals, as I have been taught that God created man and woman with specific characteristics and duties. I realize that with globalization, there are many entertainers who do not share my views. There are those who are value-oriented and those who are success-oriented. However, shouldn't an actor deliver an image to his audience through roles he chooses to portray based on his beliefs in life?" On September 11, 2015, Siwon retweeted theologian John Piper, who stated Obergefell is not constitutional. So-called same-sex marriage does not exist. Siwon also shared Piper's link to an article in support of Kim Davis, as well as to biblical passages confirming he remained against gay marriage. The next day, he removed the retweets and posted an apology in both Korean and English. The English version went, "I apologize for my inconsiderate choice to retweet Rev. Piper's tweet. Reason I echoed Rev. Piper's thoughts was because I wished to voice a plurality of opinions. However, now I realize that my comments were hurtful to those whom I hold dearest, my fans and their friends and families. I am truly sorry. My judgment was insensitive, thoughtless, and ill-conceived. I will do my best to learn from my mistakes and reflect on my faith. I thank everyone for their support and understanding." He later deleted the apology. In April 2023, Siwon shared a transphobic meme on Bubble. The meme shows a scene from the movie Titanic in which actor Billy Zane's character Caledon Hockley is trying to be rescued, but is told women and children first. Zane's character then claims to be transgender in an attempt to evacuate the ship more quickly. Siwon wrote, "It's funny kakakaki," along with the image. Siwon engages in queerbaiting behavior, often kissing his fellow members, including on the lips, and engaging in skinship. Yet he has demonstrated homophobic and transphobic attitudes. He's such a hypocrite. Siwon is a fan of Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump, unsurprisingly. because both of these presidents are homophobic, transphobic. And Zionists, both Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump are execrable people in general. I'm gonna explain why Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump are execrable people and shouldn't be supported by anyone. Disclaimer, I'm not American and I don't have much knowledge about American history. The things that I'm going to explain are based on my research. Also, I wasn't alive when Reagan was alive and I'm not going to explain all the problematic things they have done. So I'd recommend you guys to do your own research, like watching videos on YouTube for more details about Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. Let's start with Ronald Reagan. 1. Inadequate response to the AIDS epidemic. Reagan's administration is widely criticized for its slow and inadequate response to the AIDS crisis during the 1980s. The first cases of AIDS were reported in 1981, but Reagan did not publicly address the issue until 1985, by which time thousands of people had already died from the disease. 2. Lack of public support. Reagan's public silence on AIDS for the first several years of the epidemic was seen as a reflection of his administration's lack of urgency in addressing the crisis. This lack of vocal support and recognition contributed to stigmatization and misinformation about AIDS, further marginalizing those affected, primarily gay men. 3. Homophobic remarks and policies. Members of Reagan's administration made various homophobic remarks and supported policies that were perceived as discriminatory against LGBTQ+ individuals. For example, Reagan's communications director, Pat Buchanan, and other officials were known for their anti-gay rhetoric, which fostered a hostile environment for LGBTQ+ rights. 4. Opposition to LGBTQ+ rights. Reagan's administration did not actively support LGBTQ+ rights. His tenure did not see any significant advancements for LGBTQ+ equality, and his administration often aligned with conservative groups opposed to gay rights. This lack of support for anti-discrimination laws and LGBTQ+ rights initiatives further cemented his administration's perceived indifference or opposition to the struggles faced by LGBTQ+ individuals. 1. Strategic partnership. Reagan formalized a strategic partnership between the United States and Israel, deepening defense cooperation. This alliance strengthened Israel's military capabilities, often perceived as solidifying an imbalance of power in the region at the expense of Palestinian interests. 2. Military aid. Reagan significantly increased military aid to Israel, providing advanced weaponry and technology. This bolstered Israel's military dominance, enabling further occupation and military actions in Palestinian territories. 3. Economic assistance. Reagan's administration provided substantial economic assistance to Israel, supporting its economic stability and growth, while Palestinian areas faced economic hardships and restrictions. 4. Diplomatic support. Reagan's administration frequently supported Israel in international forums, using its veto power in the United Nations Security Council to block resolutions critical of Israel. This diplomatic backing often ignored or undermined Palestinian grievances and calls for justice. 5. Lebanon War. During the 1980 Lebanon War, Reagan supported Israel's military actions against the PLO, which led to significant civilian casualties and destruction. While Reagan facilitated the evacuation of PLO forces, his administration's support for Israel's aggressive actions were seen as neglecting Palestinian suffering. 6. Opposition to PLO and so-called terrorism. Reagan opposed the PLO and other groups labeled as terrorist organizations, aligning with Israel's narrative and ignoring the broader context of Palestinian resistance against occupation. 7. Reagan Plan. Reagan's 1980 peace plan emphasized secure and recognized boundaries for Israel and proposed limited Palestinian self-government in association with Jordan, but it did not support an independent Palestinian state. This plan was viewed as insufficient in addressing Palestinian aspirations for sovereignty and self-determination. Let's talk about Donald Trump now. 1. Transgender military ban. In 2017, Trump announced via Twitter that the U.S. government would not allow transgender individuals to serve in the military, citing concerns over medical costs and disruption. This policy was later implemented, reversing an Obama-era policy that allowed transgender individuals to serve openly. To religious freedom executive order. In 2018, Trump signed an executive order promoting religious liberty, which many critics argued allowed for discrimination against LGBTQ+ individuals under the guise of religious beliefs. 3. Rolling back protections. In healthcare, the Trump administration reversed an Obama-era rule that protected transgender individuals from discrimination in healthcare settings. For support for religious exemptions. The administration supported broader religious exemptions for businesses and other entities, which included allowing businesses to refuse services to LGBTQ+ individuals on religious grounds. 5. Education policies. The Trump administration rescinded guidance that allowed transgender students to use bathrooms and facilities that match their gender identity. 6. Opposition to the Equality Act. The Trump administration expressed opposition to the Equality Act, which aimed to provide comprehensive protections against discrimination for LGBTQ+ individuals. 1. Recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. In 2017, Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and subsequently moved the U.S. Embassy there from Tel Aviv. This move was seen as highly provocative by Palestinians, who also claim East Jerusalem as the capital of a future Palestinian state. The decision was criticized for undermining the peace process and the two-state solution framework. 2. The Abraham Accords. While the normalization agreements between Israel and several Arab countries, the UAE, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco, were hailed by Trump as historic peace deals, many Palestinians felt betrayed. They saw these accords as sidelining the Palestinian issue and normalizing relations with Israel without addressing their rights and aspirations. 3. Cuts to UNRWA. The Trump administration significantly reduced funding to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency UNRWA, which provides essential services to Palestinian refugees. This action was viewed as punitive and harmful to millions of Palestinians relying on UNRWA for education, healthcare, and other basic needs. For Deal of the Century Peace Plan. The peace plan proposed by Trump in 2020, which was devised primarily by his son-in-law Jared Kushner, was seen by many Palestinians as overwhelmingly favoring Israeli interests. The plan allowed for Israeli annexation of large parts of the West Bank, gave Israel security control over much of the territory, and did not grant Palestinians a fully sovereign state. It was rejected by Palestinian leaders as biased and unworkable. 5. Support for Israeli settlements. The Trump administration broke with previous U.S. policy by declaring that Israeli settlements in the West Bank was not necessarily illegal under international law. This stance was seen as legitimizing Israeli expansion into territories claimed by Palestinians for a future state, further diminishing the possibility of a contiguous and viable Palestinian state. Siwon made tweets about his love for Ronald Reagan. This edit was made by Siwon himself. This is hilariously dumb. He will meet Reagan in hell one day. Siwon was caught liking posts that support Donald Trump on Instagram. Siwon has shown support for Israel many times, like too many times. This man is absolutely crazy. In 2013, Siwon went to Israel. It's actually occupied Palestine because Israel is not a country, and posted pictures of himself in Israel, a fake country, lol. I don't know how old these clips are, but you can easily tell he openly supports Israel. He said Israel, Jerusalem, when he was asked what is the most memorable country or city. He also said he wanted to go to Israel. With one of his friends, I don't know who he was talking about.
저만.
내 인생 최고의 영화는?
Godfather.
가장 잊을 수 없는 나라나 도시는?
Israel. Jerusalem.
다른 누군가의 몸속에 들어갈 수 있다면 슈퍼주니어 멤버 중에 누구의 몸속에
그런 사람은 없어요, 우리 멤버는.
외출하기 전
Then it was a really good time. So we promised maybe. So once a year we always promise we'll go to Israel together, Jerusalem. Yeah. So we did last year too, and then it was a really good experience. Yeah, good memory.
On October 21st, 2012, Siwon thanked Israel Elf. Do they even exist? On Twitter. On September 21st, 2020, Siwon posted a photo of him with Israeli Ambassador Chaim Chosen. On March 9, 2021, Akiva Tor, Israeli ambassador to Korea, posted a picture of him with Siwon. On April 20, 2022, Siwon posted pictures of him at a pro-Israel event and had meetings with Israeli politicians. On December 17, 2023, Siwon posted a picture of him drinking a Starbucks drink during the boycott. Why should Starbucks be boycotted? Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, has expressed support for Israel in the past. He has been involved in various pro-Israel activities and has received awards from pro-Israel organizations for his support. Although Howard Schultz is no longer the CEO of the company, he still benefits financially from Starbucks due to his significant stock holdings and potentially other financial arrangements. Founders and former executives often retain substantial shares and receive dividends or other forms of compensation even after stepping down from their official roles. In conclusion, Super Junior as a whole group, especially Siwon, is extremely problematic. They should disband and stop being celebrities. I don't want to see their ugly faces on my screen anymore. You need help if you stan them. I'm going to make a video about Leetuk next. Sorry for the long explanation about Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. Have a nice day.